Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Thursday, the 2nd of October, 2025. Starting off with the synoptic picture, midnight last night, not a great deal to discuss here, really. Reasonably high pressure, 1024 over the south of the UK. Quite a bit of frontal activity just off to the west coast. That's associated with that low that's centered just north of Iceland there. We do also have high pressure that's beginning to ridge in from down in the Azores direction, which is going to try and hold off some of this poor weather we're expecting over the next few days, although we can still expect fairly rapid deterioration in our conditions. By midday today, those lows have got a little bit closer, but no real change. And overnight, we'll see a low establish itself just off the northwestern tip of Scotland and bring a cold front to the west coast of the UK. Midday tomorrow, potential for some fairly nasty rainy weather. But looking into Saturday is when it's going to get really particularly unpleasant with a very deep low centered up just north of Scotland there, bringing very high winds and the remnants of a storm. But back to today, looking at the sat pic here, it's fairly thick cloud over much of the country, thinner out to the west and the north. So there's a hope that that's going to clear a little bit, although it does appear to be tracking in largely from west to east. Rain radar, the occasional shower here and there, but nothing in our area and nothing that we anticipate is going to cause us any issues today. And you can see quite a lot of rain over Ireland there associated with those fronts making their way in. The Met Office prediction will run that through for rain, showing that big area of rain out over Ireland, but nothing in the south of the UK today that's going to cause us any issue. Overnight, we can expect this big band here to make its way over, but hopefully it will have lost a little bit of energy. The TAF now from Modium, they were giving 180 degrees, 6 knots, visibility 1,000 meters with mist breaking at 1,000 feet, beg your pardon, 100 feet, becoming between 8 and 10 o'clock this morning. Visibility greater than 10 kilometers with no significant weather, few at 600 feet. And then between 10 and 12 scattered at 600 feet. So not particularly optimistic there. We do have a fairly dense fog outside at the moment, but hopefully that's going to clear, and at least if we can get 600 feet, we can at least do some sort of flying while we wait for it to burn off. Farnborough, on the other hand, their wind is variable at 2 knots with visibility 300 meters, fog, and becoming cavoke by about 10 o'clock this afternoon. It's also showing the wind 20010 knots later on today, so southwesterly, fairly moderate. Spot winds now at heights to the south of us over the channels, southwesterly 20 knots, and to the north a little bit more westerly too, but very marginally so, around 20 and 25 knots as well. On the ground, looking at windy here, southwesterly, almost in fact southerly flow across the airfield here, and that's going to give way to us operating on runway 23 today. Local Met Office forecast for strength, showing around 10 knots for much of the day, gusting in excess of 20 at times, with reasonable visibility and, as you can imagine, quite high humidity. Temperature supposedly up to 18 or 19 degrees today. That will vastly depend on how quickly this cloud burns off, I suspect, and a dew point of 8. Well, there was the webcam on the south side looking west, not that you can tell, 8:05 this morning. We just refreshed that. You can see we have had some improvement on that part of the airfield, and we can see a little bit further into the distance. So it is improving slowly, and hopefully we aren't delayed too much longer. Local temperature up to 11.8 with a dew point of 9.9. And to sky sight now for the point forecast potential flight distance on the left-hand side there. Very little to discuss there. On the right-hand side, you can see uh, fairly persistent top cover and even mid-level cover all day. But the lower level and fog is sort of burning off by about 10:30 according to sky sight here. Becoming soarable around lunchtime, early afternoon. Possibility of some cumulus later on as well, and be soarable up to maybe 2,000, possibly even 2,500 feet, and fairly weak climbs of about 2 or 2.5 knots. It's top meteo with their cloud distribution chart at the moment. What we can see is in our area, uh, sub 500-foot cloud indicated by the orange here, or fog as well. We run this through our hour. This is beginning at 9 o'clock local. Can see that that low-level cloud, although maybe not fog, the below 500-foot cloud is fairly persistent. It starts to break up late morning, leaving some cumulus for a few hours, and then clear into the afternoon with the well-established cirrus. So this has it clearing slightly later than some of the other forecasters do. So hopefully this isn't right. We will see how quickly we can get out there and get flying. NOTAM, we're still having issues with our regular NOTAM software, but looking at the flight planning map here very quickly, lots on there, but nothing that is of concern to us. Lasham being down here, there is nothing out of the ordinary. There is no longer any temporary CTA in the Cotswolds. And for the local flying we'll be doing today, there's no need to elaborate on it any further. On to glider bookings now. We have two K21s on 5-day courses, one K21 on the casual list, and a K13 for trial lessons. We have reasonable single-seater availability across both fleets, and we have two on the casual list and one instructor. The simulator is available as normal, should we need it first thing this morning, and we have nothing to report from 2XL today. In summary, we have fog to begin likely clearing by mid-morning and locally soarable in the afternoon with a possibility of some cumulus. We can expect a south-southwesterly flow across the airfield, and thus we'll be operating on runway 23 with cables on the east as opposed to south, as it says there. Just a reminder, the grass is quite wet, so just be aware when using wheel brakes, if at all. And a reminder about low sun and misting canopies as we enter the latter part of the year. Instructors, please do not brief at the front of the queue if there is one, and please be ready when the cable or tug arrives. A reminder again, this is day 2 of SFCL rules being in force. So a reminder, you must have an SPL to fly solo without a direct authorization from an instructor. Instructors may only exercise privileges if they hold an SPL with an FIS rating. And all student solos must be properly authorized. If you're not sure how to do that, come and find me and I will show you. No solo flying for licensees or students without, at the very least, a pilot medical declaration. Okay, so as the instructor, you guys need to be checking that if you're letting people go off solo. There's our airfield set up to finish with the cables coming down the eastern side of runway 23, aerotowing from the west and landing well into the field. That's all from me this morning. We'll see you out there shortly. Have a good day and keep it safe. Thank you.